When I got inside this billionaire's limo, out of nowhere, I ended up sitting inside saying, wait, so what am I doing here, sir? Well, you see, Bubba, I have an offer for you that you can't refuse. If you're smart like me, you'll definitely take up this offer. And then out of nowhere, he ends up pulling out a briefcase. And when he opened it, it was full of cash. And he told me, for every week you date my daughter, I'll give you $1,000. And I was so in shock that this billionaire was basically hiring me to date his own daughter. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So today's story all takes place back when I was in grade 12. Now, grade 12 is the final year of high school, and during the final years of high school, a lot of people end up getting really riled up and kind of, well, insane, because no one knows in their grade 12 year what they really want to be, unless your parents, you know, trained you to say what you wanted to be and you stuck through it throughout all of school. But honestly, for me, for example, I had no idea what I wanted to be when I was in grade 12. So me being the really dumb guy I was, I'm not gonna lie, the only things I really focused on was doing the devil's tango. And then on top of that, kind of just focused on school to make sure I graduated at least, because if I'm not gonna figure out my future, I might as well just still at least graduate with good numbers. And I remember one day when I was sitting down in the cafeteria finishing up some math homework that I had, and then one of my buddies ends up coming up sitting in front of me saying, yo, bro, do you have a date to the Halloween dance? Huh? Oh, shoot, I forgot that was coming up. Wait, so you don't have a date yet? No, why? Well, I know one chick that's interested and she's planning on asking you like later at lunch. Personally, in my opinion, I'd say no because she's kind of ugly, but you do you, bro. And he ended up standing up and walking away. Now, I was happy that he told me that someone was going to ask me later on the day, so it wouldn't be a crazy surprise, but at the same time, knowing that it's going to be from an ugly girl, well, I'm not going to lie, I was not interested. I know that sounds really mean, but you guys got to understand, like, I had a pretty good reputation back in high school where I actually did the devil's tango with like not so ugly chicks. So knowing that, like, you know, this girl wanted to ask me, as mean as it sounds, I was never gonna do it. But anyway, the day goes on, and I remember I go to all my classes and stuff, and then around lunchtime, I ended up walking out of my biology class, and out of nowhere, a girl walks up to me. Now, the girl that walks up to me, I've actually known her before. She was like one of my classmates that were in my class the semester before. So me seeing this girl, I remember I was like, oh, hey, like, what's up? Oh, Baba, I was just wondering, can I talk to you for a second? Yeah, sure. What do you need to talk about? I remember she ends up grabbing my wrist, and she ends up pulling me around to the corner of the hallway, and that's when I realized she ended up handing me a note saying, will you go to the Halloween dance with me? I remember I read that, and I looked at her, and I kind of actually ended up turning her down. I told her, oh, to be honest, like, I'm not really 100% sure if I'm going, and like, I gotta be real, I think someone's already planning on asking me, and I kind of promised them I would earlier this year. So like, I'm not trying to be mean, but like, I'm not interested. At that moment, she ends up looking at me, and she looked really sad. Like, you guys have no idea. Like, her eyes were opened wide, and I swear I saw almost a tear. But she ended up basically running away from me, and at that moment, I kind of just stood there thinking, am I a jerk for doing that? I don't really know. But the story gets a lot more intense, because what ends up happening next actually changes everything. Because I remember later on the school day, I was expecting girls to walk up to me telling me how bad of a person I was, because the word gets around quick when someone gets denied in my school. But instead of the word going out, I remember during my physical education class, I was just doing a lap around the school because we were doing like this like running unit. I don't really know why. It just made no sense to me. But as we were running around, I ended up hearing the announcements, and they literally ended up saying, can Baba come down to the office? Thank you. At that moment, I was worried about why I was getting called down to the office. I don't know if it was because the rumor got out too much, or I don't know, maybe I got in trouble for something that I actually did. I have no idea. So when I headed down to the office, I remember I went up to the front counter and said, hey, I got called down to the office. Oh yeah, the phone's for you over there. Oh, okay. And I ended up going to the phone, and when I picked it up, I ended up hearing it was some guy's voice. I ended up saying, hello, who is this? Hi, are you Bubba? Yeah, what's up? What are your plans after school? I was just planning on going home. Why? Did you drive or walk to school today? I drove. Wait, I'm sorry, who is this? Well, I'm gonna be meeting up with you after school. Just expect me, okay? Stand by your car when you're there. Okay, sure, I guess. And I ended up hanging up the phone. The front desk lady ended up looking at me saying, are you done with the phone now? You can go back to class. And that's what I did. As I was walking back to class, I was questioning what in the world happened, and it got to the point where one of my buddies ended up actually seeing me in the hallway and ran up to me. He ran up to me and said, yo, Bubba, was that about the girl? Did she start a rumor about you? Are you in trouble? Huh? No, just some weird guy called me. I don't know who it was, but I guess like they're meeting me after school. What? Bro, that's so weird. And he ended up basically walking away as well. At this moment, I had really no idea what was going on, and I was worried. But what ended up happening next honestly changed everything. Because I remember when the final bell for our school rang and I started heading to my locker to get my things, I noticed that the girl that ended up asking me to the dance was basically staring at me down the hallway. I didn't know why, and I kind of looked at her and waved, and she just ended up running away. I really didn't understand what was was going on, and that day made me question everything. But once I walked up to my car and I basically kind of stood there for like 2 minutes on my phone, I ended up thinking to myself, bro, what am I doing? It's just some random prank call maybe or something. You know what? I'm just gonna go home. And right as I opened the car door to my own car, out of nowhere, a limo, a full-on limousine, pops up in front of my vehicle and says, "Are you Bubba?" Yeah? Get in the car, would you? I remember I started to worry, but it was a limo, and kidnappers don't use limos, right? So I ended up getting inside, and when I got in there, I realized that it was just some guy in a really nice suit wearing a Rolex. When I saw this guy, I was like, wait, are you the guy who called me earlier? Huh? Oh, yeah, that was me. I'm here calling you regarding a job opportunity, you can call it. A job opportunity? Wait, why? I'm still in high school. Oh, that's not the point. You see, I need you to do me a massive favor. Okay, what's the favor? And at this moment, he ends up pulling out a briefcase that was right beside him, and he ended up putting it right in front of me on the chair we were sitting at. And he said to me, if you will take my daughter to the Halloween dance, I will pay you. And he ended up opening up the briefcase, and there was loads of money inside. And that's when he finished his sentence and said, $1,000 every week. At this moment, I started to worry. I looked at him and said, so you want me to date your daughter for $1,000 a week? Yes, but remember, you have to take my daughter to the Halloween dance. That's the main requirement. And if you continue to date her, you can expect good money coming your way. At this moment, I was in shock. Because think about it. This guy was basically gonna pay me like $1,000 a week just to date his own daughter. At that moment, I ended up saying, okay, yeah, sure, I can do that. No problem. So who's the girl? Oh, well, you see, this is a photo of her. And when he handed me the photo, I realized it was the exact same girl that I turned down earlier that day. At that moment, I looked at him and said, this is your daughter? I'm not gonna lie to you, sir. I kind of turned her down earlier, but I can make it happen. I can go back and tell her I'm down. He ended up looking at me kind of angry, and he shut the briefcase as fast as he could, and he said, my daughter better be getting a date from you, or you won't get this cash until she tells me you're going to take her. Okay, yeah, no, I can make it happen. And then one thing led to another. I ended up getting out of the limousine, and when I got out, some of my buddies were still hanging out in front of the school, and they were looking at me questioning what in the world was I doing coming out of a limousine. I remember the next day, I ended up going to school, and I made sure to find the girl that ended up asking me the day before to go to the Halloween dance. And when I finally saw the girl in the hallway, I ended up running up to her saying, hey, can I talk to you for a second? What do you want, Bubba? Oh, I just need to talk to you just for a quick minute. I ended up pulling her aside, and I said to her, listen, I really thought it through, and honestly, I felt bad for what I did yesterday, and I'm gonna be honest, is it cool if I actually take you to the Halloween dance? At this moment, this girl looks at me, and she looks at me up and down and says, what's changing your mind? What do you mean? I mean, what changed your mind, Bubba? Like, there's no way you just automatically decide to go out with me. I'm not that type of girl. Well, I don't know, I just felt bad. So you're gonna go on a date with me out of pity? No, it's not like that. I just, wanted to go out with you. What? And at that moment, I ended up making up some sob story about how, like, I ended up finding out she was actually really cute and how I felt bad, but I was interested in her and I didn't know what to say and I got nervous. She ended up believing all of it, surprisingly, and well, one thing led to another. I ended up actually taking her out to the Halloween dance. 2 weeks later, I ended up finally going to the Halloween dance with her, and I'm not joking, I was so happy. Knowing that I was gonna get paid for literally taking a chick to the Halloween dance was insane. And I remember during the Halloween dance, everything was pretty good. I went as a cowboy, she went as a cowgirl, and me and her, we ended up dancing and having a good time. The only thing that was kind of funny was when I went to the punch bowl where everyone was like, drinking juice at, since, you can't have alcohol in school. I remember one of my buddies ended up walking up to me saying, yo, bro, I thought I told you not to go out with that chick. Why'd you go out with her? Let's just say I got convinced, is what I told him. And he ended up basically smiling and laughing when he walked away. But I think the worst part was when all of it was over. The Halloween dance finished, everything was done. I finally ended up driving her home, and when I dropped her off, she ended up looking at me saying, Bubba, I had a lot of fun. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. I can't wait to see you again. Wait, really? You mean it? Yeah, of course, is what I said to her. And well, when she went inside, out of nowhere, I ended up seeing the garage door open. And when the garage door opened, I ended up seeing a really fancy car, and the guy in the suit that originally asked me to take his daughter out ended up coming out of there. He came out and said, Bubba, here, let me hand this to you. He ended up opening his wallet in front of me, and he ended up giving me $1,000. But sadly, right as he handed the cash to me, out of nowhere, his daughter ends up looking at me through the window of her front doorstep, and she ended up coming out saying, Dad, what are you doing talking to him? I said, like, he's a good boy. And as she was storming up to us, she saw that he was handing me money, and she automatically put two and two together. She looked at both of us and said, wait, are you kidding me? You're paying this guy to take me out? I knew it was too good to be true. I'm done with you. I hate you. And this girl ended up running inside. Honestly, I felt really bad, but at the same time, I took my cash and left. I really did not care, nor could I care less. And to be fair, the girl was mid. I don't know. What would you guys do in this situation? Because if you guys would date a girl for $1,000, fall for more embarrassing stories just like this one. Peace out, guys.